Carrie's being a jerk, but what else is new? I actually have really good things to say about Cynthia Nixon's acting in this one. I'm surprised too. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, I am so excited. I am here with my new BFFs. I love them so much. It's Nick and Colin from Best Supporting Podcast. We're going to be discussing My Motherboard Myself, Season 4, Episode 8. Remember the one where Carrie and Aiden argue and also Miranda's mom passes away? Oh my gosh. Such a good episode. So many of you had requested this one, so I'm very excited to break it all down. Colin and Nick have me laughing the whole time. You'll hear it. I can't wait to get into it. Let's jump in. So again, Colin and Nick, please check out their podcast. It's Best Supporting Podcast. I'm actually in an episode, and I had the best time recording there. We had the best time recording this. And yeah, just take a listen. I'm here with Nick and Colin from Best Supporting Podcast, and I'm so excited to have them here. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So just to kick it off, can you tell me about your history with Sex and the City? Do you have a backstory with it? Have you watched every episode? What's your deal?
So I did not, I feel like there are certain types of Sex and the City fans, and I feel like the people who have the DVD box sets on a bookshelf and you can see the bindings are a certain type of fan. They've invested. Yes. And I was never one of those people. I was on the late train for this, but I eventually did just like a binge. It's the benefit of when you come to a show late, you can just lay on the couch and just spend most of your waking hours watching it. And so,
sure.
Yeah. So you
Absolutely.
have no choice but to just be like, well, I guess I'll keep going. So I feel like within a span of a few weeks, I binged the whole series a few years ago. And the Sex and the City movie, I feel like is, and this is a whole other tangent I won't go into, but the Sex and the City movie is the most perfect airplane movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Love
perfect.
That.
So.
I would say
That's awesome.
I am much like, this is kind of like my brand that I never complete anything, but I have also seen enough to kind of be fluent.
Uh-huh.
Like I feel the same way. I think I was going to compare it to Seinfeld. Like I've seen almost every episode of Seinfeld, but I still have a lot of holes. And I think with Sex and the City, it's probably like that, but a little bit more. Like maybe I've seen more than I think I have, because I can keep up. I've seen both movies. I love the show. I used to love when they had reruns on, was it on E? But it would have to be 22 minutes, so they would speed up the theme song and they'd cut out all the sex. But I feel like unfortunately that was a lot of my consumption of Sex and the City was on E, and I have never made my way all the way through. It is of course on my infinite list, but I love it. There's so much to talk about.
Great. And then did you watch And Just Like That? Colin, I know you did. Talk to me about it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I spilled many thoughts on, the reason that we're having this conversation right now is the now iconic, really, as far as I'm concerned, for what it's created.
Same.
Episode of We Love to Hate Everything with Amanda and Jody and Justine, where we just, sat around talking shit about it just like that, and just the cultural phenomenon that it was. And so I watched it, I experienced it, and I'm ready for season 2.
Yes.
Me too. That was my next question. And before I asked that,
I
Nick,
came very late in the game. I think it was
actually
once I listened to you and Jody's episode, and then we started all chatting about it. And then Colin, I think did you assign it to me? We have assignments on our podcast where we just give each other something to watch that we've both been enjoying, and then we, regroup the following week. And I think you assigned me more episodes, right?
I did, because I felt like it had ended, and I had felt like we had gone through something had happened over a 10-week period, and Jen was really a lighthouse, was a beacon on the shore to guide us through this 10 weeks. And I needed Nick, I needed you to know. I need you to know what it meant when somebody answers the intercom saying, "Hey, it's Che Diaz."
Yeah. It's Che Diaz. So yeah, that was my question. My last question was, what's your reaction to announcing season 2? Are we here for it?
Absolutely, as Mr. Big would say.
Well, I'm already inviting you guys back to give me your thoughts when season 2 comes out. We got to watch an episode together.
I am so excited. I mean, you were one of the first people I thought of when I heard of season 2. I was like, oh, Jen, look what you created.
I love it. Oh, it brings us all together. Love to hate. Yeah.
Right?
That's awesome. So yeah, I guess just generally, if you want to give me your opening thought. Well, first of all, let me back up. I always let my guests pick the episode. So care to tell them what episode you guys picked? I'm sure they saw in the title, but what episode did you guys pick?
I believe it is season 4, episode 8, My Motherboard Myself.
Yeah, great episode. And just general thoughts. We'll get into all the details, of course, but what are your general thoughts on the episode? Anything glaring?
I mean, I had kind of picked this, so
I didn't get any choice in the matter. No, I'm just kidding. I was perfectly fine with you picking it. Yeah.
You picked next, Nick. Yeah.
I gave him my suggestion.
I knew you were busy, so I was like, I have an idea.
Just kidding.
Yeah, it's like, well, I know what we're not doing, but when I thought about what's an episode that I think there's some meat on the bones, I think there's going to be some moments Nick will appreciate, and I figured Jen would have points of view on any of these episodes, and so this one, what I remembered was that moment at the end, at the funeral when Carrie is just so proud of herself for just being such a good friend. And, but also it's a great episode acting wise for Cynthia Nixon. She has so many great moments in it. And it is definitely like the good handful of episodes that'll definitely make you cry.
For sure. Oh, believe me. Yes, I'll talk about that. Just my general opening thoughts. I try to find my load of pants moments. If you're not familiar, it's just something that just really pissed me off about the episode. This one, it's going to be how Carrie treated Aiden.
Yes.
I feel like I wish I could take credit for this. I can't. Somewhere on the internet, somebody said Aiden is like a golden retriever. How do you mistreat a golden retriever? She's mistreating the golden retriever.
It's so true. She has smacked his snout.
That's
agree.
Right.
I agree.
So, yeah, that's my load of pants moment for this episode, but we will talk about that. So, yeah, if you guys are ready, we'll get into it. I just kind of go scene by scene, but stop me if there's anything you want to talk about. We will get into it. So, as mentioned, it is season 4, episode 8. It aired July 15th, 2001. So I know, right?
Yikes.
I was 21. Holy crap. But I always like to point out somebody's fashion. This time I'm going to go right in for Carrie opening shot. She had on the teeny shorts and the crop top number and the page boy hat, and she's ready to go.
Yeah, she had her Lisa Rinna duster on. Lisa Rinna duster,
That's right. Straight off QVC. You're
absolutely.
right.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like, this is so unnecessary.
It's such a classic Sex and the City meeting. You know what I mean? Like one of them's downtown, one of them's on the west side. It got me so excited. I was like, this is such a great episode.
Iconic. So when we meet up for brunch one day, I expect one of you guys to be wearing something similar. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I'm wearing it right now.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. We will have to really duke it out of who has the uglier hat, because Carrie and Charlotte are already duking it out this episode.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, such a good point. Okay, so one frazzled Friday afternoon, 4 overbooked girls came together, like you said, 4 different directions. So it's the power lunch. Miranda, she's talking about what she's up to, work, Aubon Pan. Am I not saying that right? Aubon Pan. I had the worst trouble pronouncing that. And work, Carrie, Aiden, Pimple, Aiden. What a weird thing to say, right?
Yeah, I guess it was just like to build off of what Miranda's joke was too, but pimple, gross.
Right.
I'm like, Carrie.
Well, and plus that's a theme that we always talk about. It's always got to circle back to Carrie, always. So she always makes the topics about her. Yep. So Carrie. Okay. So Charlotte's whole thing, she's redecorating. Things aren't going well with Trey. That's an ongoing thing. Did you know that there are over 40 types of dimmers?
Wow.
It's a very Charlotte line.
Right. Not to be too on the nose.
Right.
That's right. It's illuminating. It's enlightening, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we find out Carrie has given Aiden keys to her apartment, and she has his keys. What are our thoughts on Aiden? Are you guys team Aiden, team Big, neither, both? What are your thoughts?
I'd like to weigh in here because I do feel like there have since been, there's obviously two sides of the coin with this question. I am Team Aiden. I'm just going to start by saying that. But some people have argued that Carrie had to be with Big. Like, of course she would end up with him because, like, it's the perfect sort of amalgamation of, like, being withholding, but still, like, when it counts, he'll do some grand gesture, which is not enough for me. I'll tell you that much. But on the flip side, just to be the devil's advocate here, like, I have... Keon, if you're listening, I love you, but he is an Aiden. He does everything, and he's, like, so perfect and so helpful and so supportive, and, like, there is, it makes me sound like, and then there's my boyfriend, he's the worst, but, like, I'm just trying to rationalize, too, because, like, say, the perfect example of this is, like, if I am venting to Keon about something, he will immediately try to start like seeing the positive side of it or like offering suggestions. And sometimes I don't need that. You know what I mean? I just need to like, I think I was watching a TikTok where someone said like, if someone's venting to you, you should always ask them the question, are you looking to vent or are you looking for advice? Because that's two different things. And I think it's really helpful.
That is.
And we've been trying to do that.
Smart.
Anyway, this is all to say I'm Team Aiden. Big kind of sucks, but he's hot.
Yeah.
The end. I don't know. Colin, how about you?
That's perfect.
I feel like using that framework, I feel like Aiden is the kind of guy to immediately want to fix it and give advice, and Big is the kind of guy to just listen to you vent. And I almost think that part of the appeal, and this may not be a healthy appeal, is because Big is not offering any solutions, it keeps you on the hook.
It
longer.
does.
Does that make
sure.
sense? I mean, I guess that's sort of been part of Big's narrative for like 6 seasons and 2 movies, but and 1 episode, but I've been just like that, yeah. But I feel like there's that too of like one of the problems with Aiden, and this is not an allusion to Keon, by the way, if you're listening. But I think to Aiden, the character of Aiden is that he is too available to Carrie, and the character of Carrie needs someone who's
that
elusive.
makes sense.
You know?
Absolutely. Yep, I totally agree. Okay, so let's see here. So the whole thing is that's the opposite of Big. The fact that he is, you're exactly right, so available to her. It's the opposite because Big was always, like you said, elusive. Sam got 1,001 sexual positions for $1. Great use of $1, yeah. So she's...
This is so like early 2000s, late 90s West Village zine. Like this is such a like. I was like, yeah, this probably is real. Someone is on the street selling this for $1.50. You know.
That's what you're saying is you've been that guy on the corner selling it for $1. Yeah.
Well, what can I say? You know, in summer between college semesters, you know, you got to pay the bills, right?
That's right.
I learned a lot. I'll tell you that.
That's right. And funny enough, my husband and I went to New York for our honeymoon, so you know.
We may have crossed paths on a corner.
That's right. Best dollar ever. That's right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so. She's seeing Nick, a wrestling coach at NYU. So this is where I love the research. Just FYI, Nick is played by Peter. I'm probably not going to say his last name right. It's Onorati. And he played Vittorio in Being the Ricardo. So if you've seen that movie that just came out.
He was in that?
Okay. He was in that, yes.
Well,
Vittorio, I think I'm saying his name right. Yeah.
That sounds right. He is... one of my in the top 3 of celebrity
I was gonna say Colin, he's right up.
Peter Onorati is like so hot. Oh my god! If you want to heat up a Tuesday night, you just go through his IMDb pictures. That's enough. He is like, I mean, you know, I think he's he's aged a bit, which is fine. Age is wonderful, but. There's some primetime Peter Onorati photos where I'm like, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I know what I'll be doing this evening.
And I had no idea. I forgot he was in this episode. So that was like a divine connection that my boyfriend would show up in this episode
all these pictures.
in a onesie.
I'm gonna need to go on a double date with you and your boyfriend, FYI. That's great. But yeah, so I'm not familiar with his work, so I will be looking at him. I'll be looking more into him. I haven't seen Being the Ricardos yet. I'll check that out. Do you remember him on there?
I don't, but
Okay.
I don't remember him
Yeah,
at all.
okay.
I don't either.
There were not a lot of, there were a lot of men in it. Maybe he was just like a guy in a suit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Sure.
Anyway.
Absolutely. Who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was too distracted by Nicole Kidman's lack of facial features, you know?
Oh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so then from there, Carrie comes home to Aiden, and she does the Carrie thing. You're deflowering my pristine kitchen, and then she has to. This is an ongoing thing that I tease with Jody again from We Love to Hate Everything. It's I'm tiny. Ooh, I have to squeal.
Yes.
You know, like
Right. Yeah, this like little pixie reaction of hopping in. It's like she's like Tinkerbell jumping into the kitchen. Totally. Yeah.
So he's making fajitas, which I gotta say I find John Corbett so attractive. So him in my kitchen.
And that green shirt. Ugh, the perfect shade of green.
By the way, let's not forget that he's also
know.
making fajitas. Like, that's the
Done.
hottest thing. Yeah.
That's
Especially
right.
if he
So
warmed up the
that's
tortillas. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
My only beef with this, no pun, the scene, I know, Waka Waka on Che Diaz comedy concert. But my only beef with the scene is when he says, fuck the fajitas, and I'm like, no, priorities, eat the fajitas and then do that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was like, dump him. Fuck the
Right.
fajitas.
All those green peppers.
No.
I would never think to make fajitas on a George Foreman grill. I think that's the last thing I would make on it. Like, maybe the beef. I mean, I guess you could have slapped anything on those things, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It wouldn't
assuming-
have occurred to me to do that either. Go ahead.
Did you both have George Foreman grills at some point in your life?
Yes.
I
still
mean-
do. I actually use it for like turkey
Nice.
burgers. It's just easy.
Yeah. I felt like grilled cheese sandwiches was the only thing that was like successful for me.
But they'd have the
George Foreman.
divots. But sometimes
Otherwise-
it's nice. It's like a ruffled
always had the
chip. You know what I
divots.
mean? Only like grilled cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Carrie is writing her column. This is where Carrie bugs the crap out of me. He tries to read it, and she's like, no, don't. I mean, just over and over. It's just, it's a lot. I understand that she wouldn't want him to read over his shoulder, but she treats him like a child. And I mean, that's how I would talk to my, 7-year-old, like, no, back up, you know? It's just-
Right, yeah.
It's just rude. So she grabs a hold of the computer, and there's a reason why this is important. We'll talk about it in a second. But she grabs it and pulls it into her a little bit and then screams, oh my God, come back. So something's happening. Obviously, the computer's crashing. So the reason I bring this up, my husband is a computer dork. I am the complete opposite. These poor guys know I'm terrible at technology. So...
She's coming to you live from a potato.
That's right. I know. I'm talking into a can with a string. That's why I sound like this. But so she because she had, my husband explained this to me. Okay. He had the same computer, and he explained that if you grab it like that and you pull it, it can cause a crash. And what she got is called a sad Mac. It is a thing, because I wondered if it was just something they made up for the show. I don't know. It is a thing. There's also something called a sad iPod too that would happen if your iPod crashed. There would also be a sad Chrome if your web page locked up. You'd see a sad picture of a file. So, yeah, it's just interesting behind the scene facts, and I think that's why they made a point of her grabbing it, because the physicality can cause that to
That's
happen,
interesting. I got to
especially those
rewatch
older
that clip
computers.
again.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to pick my computer up that way. I'm scared now.
Right? I think
Yeah.
they've gotten better, but I think that was a thing he was explaining back in the day that would cause a problem. And I think that's why they had her grab a hold of it like that, is to drive home that could have caused
Got
the
it.
crash. So
Wow, that's, doing their
I
homework
know,
on Sex
yeah,
and the
those
City,
writers.
Yeah.
always behind the scenes tidbits. I find it fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's where I want your thoughts. What were your thoughts? Aiden was trying to help. He was trying to do the Control Alt Delete thing. What are your thoughts? Were you for Aiden? Did you feel like he was overstepping?
I feel like Nick can speak to this experience.
Yeah,
more.
I mean, I would be.
Someone
I
with
mean,
an
I
Aiden at
am.
home.
I believe there's one asshole in every relationship, and I am that asshole. And I think my reason behind this would be like I would break something. I would definitely call if it was a Mac issue because he's really good at all the Mac stuff. I have called him in before because I do trust him, but I think. Because it's like, there's the whole plot line of the PC versus the Mac. Like, I don't think I would have let him touch anything initially. Like, I would have looked something up. Okay. Only because, like, I want it to be my fault, and I don't want to be able to transfer my rage onto him like Carrie did. So, like, at least I'm, like, aware of that. Like, I wouldn't have blamed Keon, though. Like, maybe I would have if it was something catastrophic. But it's such a perfect setup for, like, a petty argument like this. Like, well, he's the one who touched it last. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. But that's a more thoughtful way of explaining it, I feel like. Just that you don't want to get mad at him, so that's a reason not to let him touch it. I think she was just pissed at the world.
Yeah, and it's like anyone who's in the way. I feel like... in some ways, I could empathize with Carrie in the way where it's like, I want 6 feet of distance.
Yes.
Just stay out of my way. It's for your benefit. I need to be in complete control right now.
Yes.
Like,
Absolutely.
I will wrap the laptop up in the pashmina. I will use the pashmina. Like, yeah, everything will have my initials on it,
That's right. Absolutely. Yep. Good catch on the pashmina. That's awesome. So that takes us to the next scene where they're at the computer place. Now, this is where I did side with Carrie a little bit. He's trying to give her a back rub and help her calm down when she's already agitated. I think I would tell my husband, like, can you just back the fuck off for just a minute? Like, can we talk about this at home?
It's the shoulder massage. She's, Get off me. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. And she's like,
well, this is where. Oh, okay. I mean, this is where, like, I mean, she is like devastating when she says, "You are mortifying."
Yeah.
So. That's where she lost me again. I just thought that was too mean. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like, we all say things in the moment that maybe we regret or whatever. It comes out the wrong way. But there's something about that was like, what a cruel thing to say. It's not like you're driving me nuts right now. Like, that's one thing. But it's like, you are mortifying me. That is so... I mean, it's so funny. We're just talking about how she was being the little pixie in the kitchen with him, and I'm so tiny. And then she switches to being like mom yelling at the little boy. It's fucked up.
But he did make...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Jen.
No.
I was just going to say, like, that moment came out of him making that dumb joke about da bomb. He's like, and then there was the bomb. Not da bomb, but a bomb. I think he should have known from that initial sort of, like, instant at the apartment that, like, this is a big fucking deal. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he should have... I feel like Aiden is smarter than that. Like, so I kind of side with Carrie. Maybe to say, like, you're bugging the shit out of me, like, just back up, like Colin was saying.
Yeah.
But, like, don't joke about it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get that completely. I felt like that you're mortifying me crossed the line. I think you guys hit the nail on the head with that. It's just too much. It's too strong. Yeah, it can, like you said, you're just bugging me. You're driving me crazy. Can we talk about this later? Like, and if he's that annoying, why bring him to the computer place?
That's also, I agree. I also would be like, and I'm going to text her by myself.
Yes.
Like, you
I'm
will stay
getting a coffee,
here.
you stay here.
Right.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, this is a solo project. Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. It would have been better for both of them.
Yeah.
But, so the computer guy, his name is Dimitri. He is, I hope I said this name right. He's played by, I believe it's Asif Mandif. And he plays Bob Spaulding in the movie The Proposal with Sandra Bullock.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes, thank you. I was like, what's my boyfriend's name? Ryan Reynolds. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Reynolds. Yeah. So another funny thing, Carrie gets it wrong here. She's talking about the mean little man, and he had a tongue. And I went back and looked. He doesn't have a tongue. So, in case you're wondering. Yeah.
Aiden was right. It's even worse. Now, I have a question, and your husband would probably know this.
Yeah.
And, is because Dimitri says, well, Control-Alt-Delete doesn't work on Macs. Is that true?
So that is true. It doesn't fry anything because I've done it before. It doesn't do anything. I'm looking at my Mac now. My husband's taught me this and I already forgot. I want to think it's Command, maybe Shift Escape, and it just brings up that menu and tells you if things are frozen. Something like that. Maybe Command Option Escape, whatever it is. There's a Mac equivalent. So, but it doesn't. Yeah. I've done the Control Delete, just not thinking about it, and it doesn't fry your computer. It doesn't do
I feel like it gets you where you need to go. It's kind of like when you when you drive through the parking lot to get through the intersection. You know what I mean? It's like you're not supposed to go that way, but it'll get you where you need to go. You know?
Exactly. Sheesh. Let's see here. So Mean Little Man, she was wrong on that. Let's see. Okay, so then from here, basically, they're going to run some tests. We'll call you if we find anything. Like the most infuriating thing you could possibly say, right? Like,
yeah, I have thoughts about the tech guy. He played it so well because it's like that is every tech guy. They're just going to be straight to the point, and it's even more infuriating when he goes back and shows her like, well, look at this. We'll get there. I was like, oh, brother. Yeah, it annoyed me.
I'd rather you not find anything than that, yes.
Yeah, but like it was also okay. Like he was like, but we can order you a new motherboard. I think that's like how that all, I'm like, then why would you show me all that? Yeah, we'll get to it.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure.
Or maybe
So Carrie calls...
No, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Carrie calls Miranda, and she's freaking out, and they talk about backing up, and she's like, you have never said this to me. So, again, it's kind of a Carrieism. It's your fault because nobody's ever said it to me about backing up.
Right.
So...
I mean, I feel like this is, I mean... I imagine this is the same Carrie. I don't know if we've ever seen it on the show, but like I picture this same Carrie like looking at her credit card bills and seeing that there's interest on it. It's like, well, no one told me that there'd be an interest rate. This is ridiculous, you know? What do you mean there's a minimum? Well, why didn't you tell me, Aiden? You know, it's things like that.
Spot on. I think you're spot on. That's exactly what it is. You're right. So she finds out Miranda is in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, her mom had a heart attack. So it's very rare for Sex and the City to talk about family. So this is one of the few times we get to hear anything. Of course, we meet siblings later. But yeah, so in Philadelphia, and she jumped on a train, didn't know how bad it was till she got there. Carrie offers to come down, and she's like, no. We'll just see what happens. Anything else there? Otherwise, I'll move on.
Yeah, that was kind of just setting it up.
I mean, I think...
Yeah. We
get that one glimpse of Miranda's sister walking by because she's like, you know, you're not supposed to be on a cell phone in here. And that was my question, was like, is this the first time or the only time we've ever really seen a sibling in an episode? Like, we do see so little of their families.
We do. There was an episode. See, I'm watching these out of order now, so I think it's already happened, but it may not have. There's an episode where Samantha hooks up with Charlotte's brother, Wesley.
Wow.
Yeah, Wesley.
That sounds familiar.
And so she slept over at Charlotte's house. Charlotte said some mean things to her. Yeah. So that was the only other sibling that I can recall seeing. Yeah, I think so.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Until, and just like that, when we meet Big's brother. Do you remember that? Yeah.
That red herring. Yeah. Who ended up being nothing.
Nothing. And then Carrie says to him, he died. Like, no shit. Like, he didn't.
Right.
Like, he didn't know his brother died. Hello.
Yeah, you're like, John's not dead.
Exactly.
It's like, where are we going now in the 9th episode?
Exactly.
You know?
Oh, you guys are so speaking my language. Okay, guys, this is where I'm going to end this episode. We go on for another, 45 or so minutes just talking and having fun through this episode. So I will bring that to you in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, this is Nick and Colin. They're from Best Supporting Podcast. They're on all the different podcast platforms, so give them a listen. A couple episodes ago, you'll find mine where I talk with them about my favorite housewives, my least favorite housewives, mostly focused around Real Housewives of New York. And we just have a great time talking about all that. So check that out. They do all kinds of stuff, though, on their podcast. They talk about movies and... I mean, you'll hear, we go into it in the next part, but they talk about, best phone scenes, just different things like that. It's really cool. They had a really good idea for our podcast, and they're really a lot of fun in the way that they talk about everything. I just enjoy listening, so check that out. And thank you guys so much for being here. If you're interested, consider checking out Patreon. We're having a lot of fun over there. we kind of do these deep dives for every episode. It's just me over there, but I try to find any behind the scenes information on any of the episodes that I can find. We talk about what actors are in the scenes, you know, who went on to do what, that sort of thing, and the episodes themselves. So if that's something you're interested in, all the different levels over there are all getting the Sex and the City breakdown. So check that out. Again, thanks for being here and have a wonderful day. I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.